Hey guys, as you can see, there is art on the wall behind me. It's kind of set up. I will show you guys more of it when it's officially done. The area where I want to film is still getting a makeover, but whatever. Today I'm going to be doing the writing routines tag created by Emily Bourne and WriteHollyDavis, and I'll leave both of their channels linked down below. If you want to go check them out, please do. I thought this would be a nice way for you guys to get to know me and a little bit about my process, even though you kind of see it when you watch my editing vlogs. If you watch my editing vlogs, I'll link the newest one in the description box down below as well. Question number 1 is, do you stick to an outline while drafting? I've never created an actual really hard and fast outline. So I guess the answer is no, but also yes, where I outline partially and in different ways and manners as I go along, and I generally stick to that. I will leave my video on how specifically I plotted and outlined my first novel, Valor, in the description box down below if you want to hear a little bit more about how I do kind of sort of maybe stick to an outline while drafting. Question number 2 is, how long do I take to develop my characters before drafting? Or do I develop my characters through the drafting process? My characters start off, I have an idea for them, and I kind of work through that just a little bit. I fill out kind of maybe partially some of those character sheets, but I don't really know for sure who my characters are until I start writing and start experiencing their personalities firsthand. There were some characters that I had specific ideas for and specific, goals and things they were going to work towards, symbols related to them, and in the end those didn't even matter. So I think I definitely did a little bit of both. I learned from my characters so much through the drafting process and the outlining process, more so than I did from filling out those character sheets in the beginning. Number 3 is, what gets me in the zone for writing? I don't really know. Generally I just sit down and decide to do it, which is kind of bad. Normally I know writers have a certain way to get in the zone, because then when you're not feeling like writing, you can do that and sort of train your brain to know that it's time to write. But I am not one of those writers, and I do not have a way to do that. I wish I did. I should probably work on that. Generally I listen to music and I sit down, and if I'm really stuck and I can't just jump right into it, then I go back and I reread what I've written before the next scene or so, and that kind of gets me excited to keep going and to finish it. I almost never stop at a clear stopping point, so at the end of a chapter or anything, because then it is 1,000 times more difficult for me to get back into that writing zone. Number 4 is, what time of day do I write, and do I stick to specific days to write? I try to write whenever I have free time. So that means that I don't necessarily have a specific time or day scheduled to write. Generally, I write more at night than I do in the morning, just because and this is gonna sound horrible, I feel most productive in the morning. So I do everything else but write, which is very backwards. I'm trying to switch my schedule up and start writing in the morning, just because then I feel like I would get the most important thing to me personally done, and then I could do all of my homework and assignments and everything else at night during the time that I usually set aside for writing, but end up watching Netflix instead. Number 5 is, do I always write in the same place or room? No, I don't. I will link my editing vlog down below where I go to the library and get some writing and editing done there. But generally, now that I'm in college, I'm in this room because it's my room and I get a whole bunch of work done here, especially when I'm editing Valor now and I'm not editing digitally, so I need the binders and all of my papers and things like that, and it's just easier to do it here where I don't need to transport anything. But I do love to write, especially while I was drafting. I loved to go outside and sit at picnic tables and get some fresh air and people watch. I think it's such a great way to get out and see people, but also do writing. Plus, I get so much inspiration from just watching the people around me that it definitely pays off in the end to leave my little hobbit hole. Question number 6 is, do I listen to music during a writing session? Yeah, I do. It depends on what kind of scene I'm writing. That dictates what kind of music I'm listening to, but generally I like to listen to the Lumineers, I like to listen to Florence and the Machine, I like Greta Van Fleet. All of those I kind of rotate through for Valor. Sometimes I listen to the Piano Guys if I just need some, you know, peaceful music that's not necessarily vocal, but generally I like to listen to music with lyrics and words, and it doesn't necessarily distract me. Again, if it does, I switch to the Piano Guys. And I will link down below, let's say I'll link one of my favorite songs from each of those people, so you can check out what I kind of listen to while I'm writing Valor. Number 7 is, how long are my typical writing sessions? If I'm just getting writing done during the day, I generally only have 15 to 20 minutes to really get it done and write as much as I can in that time. But if I'm actually sitting down to write, I try to set a timer for a half hour to 45 minutes and then take a break and then come back. If I set aside time to write, I almost always set aside an hour or two to just really kind of immerse myself back in the world and get some words done. So that's generally the time frame of my writing. Question number 8 is, do I read back my work or do I edit my work before moving on to the next chapter? No, I do not. Valor is way too long for that. I would never have gotten through the first draft. So now I'm in the editing process and it's a little crazy, I'm not gonna lie. It's a little hectic and overwhelming, but I just never would have gotten through it if I had stopped after every chapter to rework or re-edit. Like I did say earlier in this video though, sometimes I do go back and reread, but I don't change anything unless it's like a glaring grammar mistake, then I'll fix it. But I don't fix any plot or character things. I just read through it to get back into the world and then start my new writing. And then the 9th and final question is, what is my average goal per writing session? So words written, pages written, amount of time maybe. I don't really ever have a goal. If you have Scrivener, which is the program that I drafted Valor on, well, drafted the second half of Valor on, it has a little option in the bottom where you can set a word count goal for each scene. So generally I did that for most of my scenes, and at the word count goal, that's where I would put how long I think the scene is going to be. And for the most part, I measured my writing progress in scenes. So I wanted to finish 1 scene or 2 scenes or whatever, and however long that took me is however long that took me. That may not be the best way to track, but I have a love-hate relationship with tracking by word counts, because right now I have a novel that's 150,000 words, which is a lot of words for a debut novel. And to even like get some literary agents and publishers to look at it, I'm gonna have to cut that way down. But to me, not hitting a high word count meant like that I was failing, that I wasn't a good writer because I didn't have any ideas, or I couldn't express those ideas in words. But that's totally not what it means. But I didn't know that at 17, so it's kind of hard to go back and fault old Carson. I'm just gonna fault the society of writers that makes us feel like word count is the end all be all of what your novel is. Yeah, they feel like the people to blame. So guys, that was the writing routine tag. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it. I hope you guys learned a little bit more about me and how I edit and write Valor. Please check out all the links down below, the creators of this tag, the music that I linked, because I think it's pretty good, not gonna lie. And I will see you guys on Wednesday with another editing vlog. Bye.